I'm going to bring to you Bill Maher reacting to his meeting, his dinner at the White House set up via Kid Rock and Donald Trump, and how he tears down the straw man of Donald Trump that the media has built up for the public.
And now for what I know you've all been waiting for, I'd like to give you my book report on my visit to the White House.
I love the ominous music. You feel that?
Okay, as you know, 12 days ago I had dinner with President Trump, a dinner that was set up by my friend Kid Rock, because we share a belief that there's got to be something better than hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. And let me first say that to all the people who treated this like it was some kind of summit meeting, you're ridiculous. Like I was going to sign a treaty or something. I have no power.
Do not represent all the libtards.
Powerful leader in the world. I'm not the leader of anything, except maybe a contingent of centrist-minded people who think there's got to be a better way of running this country than hating each other every minute.
Thank you. Sanity. I give credit where credit's due.
So meet up in person. Maybe it'll be different. Spoiler alert, it was. First good sign, before I left
Great
for the
success.
Capitol, I had my staff collect and print out this list of almost 60 different insulting epithets that the president has said about me. Things like stupid, dummy, lowlife dummy, sleazebag, sick, sad, stone cold crazy. Really a dumb guy, fired like a dog, his show is dead. There's 60. I brought this to the White House because I wanted him to sign it, which he did.
Sense of humor. Sense of humor, everybody. Thank you. That's what we need.
Which he did with good humor. And I know as I say that, millions of liberal sphincters just tightened. Oh my God, Bill, are you going to say something nice about him? What I'm going to do is report exactly what happened. You decide what you think about it. And if that's not enough pure Trump hate for you, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. So no, I didn't go MAGA. And to the president's credit, there was no pressure to. After we left the Oval Office, he showed me the little room off the office, you know, the one where Clinton used to. Okay. The blowjob room. Okay. Well, not anymore. That's where they keep the merch now. It is. And he gave me a bunch of hats, but he didn't ask me to take a picture in one, which I appreciated. The guy I met is not the person who the night before the dinner shit-tweeted a bunch of nasty crap about how he thought this dinner was a bad idea and what a deranged asshole I was. I read it and thought, oh, what a lovely way to welcome someone to your house. But when I got there, that guy wasn't living there. Now, does Trump want respect? Of course, who doesn't? My friend said to me, what are you going to wear to the White House? I said, I don't know, but I'm not going to dress like Zelensky, I'll tell you that.
You see a modicum of decorum from Bill Maher right there. Thank you.
But, okay. Just for starters, he laughs. I'd never seen him laugh in public, but he does, including
I've seen him laugh in public.
It's
Come
not
on.
fake. Believe me, as a comedian of 40 years, I know a fake laugh when I hear it. And I thank you for them. No. But, okay, example, in the Oval Office, he was showing me the portraits of presidents, and he pointed to Reagan and said, in all seriousness, you know, the best thing about him, his hair. I said, well, there was also that whole bringing down communism thing, waiting for the button next to the Diet Coke button to get pushed and I go through the trap door. But no, he laughed, he got it. I said to him at one point, Mr. President, you know the dog, that's unusual in the White House. He said, well, a lot of the presidents, they had a dog for political reasons. I said, no, people love dogs, that's what that is. Oh yeah, okay, that's true. I'm telling you what happened. At one point, we were walking through it is an amazing tour of the whole house. And I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but it must have been something with the 2020 election because I know he used the word lost. And I distinctly remember saying, wow, I never thought I'd hear you say that. He didn't get mad. He's much more self-aware than he lets on in public. Look, I get it. It doesn't matter who he is at a private dinner with a comedian. It matters who he is on the world stage. I'm just taking as a positive that this person exists because everything I've ever not liked about him was, I swear to God, absent, at least on this night with this guy. Bob, Kid Rock, told me the night before, he said, if you want to get a word in edgewise, you're going to have to cut him off. He'll just go on. Not at all. I've had so many conversations with prominent people who are much less connected, people who don't look you in the eye, people who don't really listen because they just want to get to their next thing.
That's what everybody who's met Trump will tell you, that he makes you feel like the most important person in the room, and he's paying rapt attention to you, and it makes you feel good and important. And that is part of the power because reciprocity factors in when you make somebody feel like that.
People whose response to things you say just doesn't track, like, what? None of that with him. And he mostly steered the conversation to, what do you think about this? I know, your mind is blown, so's mine. There were so many moments when I hit him with a joke or contradicted something, and no problem. At dinner, he was asking me about the nuclear situation in Iran in a very genuine, hey, I think you're a smart guy, I want your opinion sort of way. And I said, well, obviously you're privy to things about it, I'm not, but for what it's worth, I thought the Obama deal was worth letting play out because we made Iran destroy 98% of the uranium and they were 15 years away from a bomb. And then I said to him, but we got rid of that. You got rid of that. He didn't get mad or call me a left-wing lunatic. He took it in. I told him I thought parts of his plan for Gaza were wacky, but that I had supported him in the idea that Gaza could be Dubai instead of hell. I told him he was wrong when he tweeted the night before that I was critical of all things Trump. Not true. Check the tapes. Moving Israel's embassy to Jerusalem, loved it. The border did need to be controlled. I'm glad the cops are getting their morale back. DEI had gone too far. Biological men
way too far.
Shouldn't be playing women's sports.
Duh.
Europe should pay for their defense.
Yeah.
And of course, it makes sense that Arab countries should take in Arab refugees, like the million Syrians who wound up in Germany when Saudi Arabia took none. He said to me,
which has forever changed the composition and composure of Europe. What a horrible idea that was by Angela Merkel.
You're right, they took none. I said, well, you should remind your boyfriend in Saudi Arabia that the next time you see him.
Funny. He was talking about MBS, Mohammed bin Salman.
He laughed. I never felt I had to walk on eggshells around him. And honestly, I voted for Clinton and Obama, but I would never feel comfortable talking to them the way I was able to talk with Donald Trump. That's just how it went down. Make of it what you will. Me, I feel it's emblematic of why the Democrats are so unpopular these days.
Because they have no sense of humor.
When
Trump
I
does.
Him on the orangutan lawsuit. He was. No, he said to Dana White, you know, Bill said my father was an orangutan, and I really love my father. And I said, well, Mr. President, I did that because I didn't like what you were doing regarding Obama's birth origins. I thought that was low. Again, no anger, just a little smile as if to say, yeah, I get it. The most surreal part of the whole night was when I got home. I flew back right after the dinner, and I'm in bed watching 60 Minutes from the night before. And there's Trump in one of their stories, standing at a podium in a room that looked to me like one of the rooms and places we'd just been in. And he's ranting, disgusting, you're a terrible person. And I'm like, who's that guy? What happened to Glinda the Good Witch?
The thing is that there are some reporters that are purely out to get Donald Trump. He is perfectly okay in my book to call them out for it. This is the thing. Bill Maher, you go there, you're there in good faith. He's going to treat you accordingly. When people are asking questions in bad faith, trying for gotchas, and that have continually lied about him, it makes much more sense that he would be critical of them in the moment.
And why can't we get the guy I met to be the public guy? And I'm not saying it's our responsibility to do that. It's not. I'm just reporting exactly what I saw over 2.5 hours. I went into the mine, and that's what's down there. A crazy person doesn't live in the White House. A person who plays a crazy person on TV a lot lives there, which I know is fucked up. It's just not as fucked up as I thought it was.
Still got to mention something
now
negative.
that I'm back to work at my job, that he might start a new list.
That's funny. That's funny.
Because I don't have a good feeling and will be critical about a lot of what he's doing. The trade war and disappearing people, ruling by decree,
come on.
threatening judges.
That is such a straw man. Disappearing people is such a misframe. Everybody knows where these people are. It's widely reported. That's not the same as disappearing them. That's such a false frame to put it in. And it's kind of a straw man because you have to battle against this false allegation.
Gutting the government with glee. But I also think he
I
now understands
want him to
I
gut
have
the
a job
government.
to do, or at least he did on this night, because he said to me early on that he'd seen our last episode, which was the Friday before this dinner. And he said, I thought maybe you'd be nice, but you hit me really hard. I did, because I'm not going to pull my punches that presidents get to propose a third term for themselves. He understood that, and without animus. That doesn't mean he's not going to try to do it.
Okay.
At one point,
Funny.
I said to him, you're scaring people. Do you really want to be scaring your own citizens so much? And I know now you're all saying, and what did he say to that? Honestly, I don't remember. But it wasn't, okay, I'll stop. So MAGA fans, don't worry. Your boy gave me nothing. Just hats. Hats and a very generous amount of time and a willingness to listen and accept me as a possible friend, even though I'm not MAGA, which was the point of the dinner. My favorite part of the whole night was we were standing in the blowjob row. We were. And he said, you know, I've heard from a lot of people who really like that we're having this dinner. Not all, but a lot. And I said, same. A lot of people told me they loved it, but not all.
Yep, me too.
And we agreed. The people who don't even want us to talk, we don't like you. Don't talk, as opposed to what? Writing the same editorial for the millionth time and making 25-hour speeches into the wind? Really, that's what liberals have? He takes the piss out of everybody else and we can hold ours? Okay, that's my report. You can hate me for it, but I'm not a liar. Trump was gracious and measured, and why he isn't that in other settings, I don't know, and I can't answer, and it's not my place to answer. I'm just telling you what I saw, and I wasn't high.
Okay. Funny again. He's good.
Damn, missed opportunity.
Well, aside of being a really excellent monologue, you really have to give Bill credit. He went into the belly of the beast. He had the bravery in his heart to do so, as did Donald Trump, to invite somebody that's been hypercritical of him and in many cases unfair. Today, Bill was on point. He was not unfair, and I completely agree with his overall theme that we have to be able to talk to each other, that this is the reason that freedom of speech exists, is so that our ideas can battle each other in a public setting and people can grasp to each idea and measure it based on how well it's presented and the logic of it. And this is what Bill is essentially fighting for, because the liberals want to be in their little silo. Not the liberals. Bill's a liberal. I'm a classical liberal, even though I'm a right-leaning libertarian. I still believe in the ethos of liberalism. But the leftists want us at war with each other. And these are the people that don't want Donald Trump and Bill Maher discussing. So thank you, Donald Trump, for having Bill Maher to the White House. I do think that it does a modicum of good publicly for the two sides to talk and for Bill to be able to report back to the public that Donald Trump is not the crazy person that you believe based on the way that the media covers him. And a large part of it is the media coverage, which is why I think Donald Trump is entirely correct to call out the media to their faces as to how fake they are. Because honestly, before 2015, I thought that the New York Times was essentially the gold standard of journalism. Now, they've really sunk that on themselves, but Donald Trump pointing it out to the public makes us aware of it. So kudos to Bill Maher, kudos to Donald Trump for having this summit meeting, and God bless Bill Maher for going and Donald Trump for having hosted and Kid Rock for having set it up. Good for them. God bless everybody out there. Leave it in the comments what you guys think. Peace out.